Ay, ay, ay. Good morning, you boring lot. Welcome to the boring brew. And guys, listen, I've worked out why the brew is boring. It's not because of me, I'm amazing, obviously. It's boring because there's no caffeine. There's no caffeine, guys. We're drinking decaf. Good morning, Gunarican. Big up to you, my friend. Thank you for being here. And I hope you had a good night's sleep after that bore fest. Listen, man. Listen, I was at work. I had to come back and stream through just ages and ages and ages of highlights. I got home from work on the 88th minute and I managed to watch the final 5 minutes and then the massive fight between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. So that's all. That's all I saw. So I had to watch all of the highlights and stuff like that. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you. I am going to talk about what I've seen and Chidera. I've seen there is so many there. Thank you for all of your comments before the stream even started. I appreciate that you're going to be at work. So I'll have a look at what you've written as I, at the appropriate time for the bit that I'm talking about. But yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Let's make a start then. let's talk about the game. So, like I said, disclaimer: I didn't watch the match. I was at work. I work unsociable hours because I work with kids, so it means that I can't work with them until after school. But yes, I didn't get home till just as the game was ending, but I managed to watch those highlights. And the game was a 0-0. And to be fair, I did predict a 1-1, so I expected it to be quite a quiet game, really, in the sense of what we actually saw in terms of goalmouth action. I didn't expect there to be much going on. I didn't expect a 0-0 because I thought Sporting would have more. But I do think that defensively, Arsenal were pretty good yesterday. And just to quantify that, because I know people will be going, what? To quantify that, they didn't have a shot from the 73rd minute onwards. So Arsenal really did just shut it down and just cut them out. But that's based on the statistics, right? I didn't watch the whole game, so I'm just saying that from a statistical point of view. Morning, Darkside. Good to see you, my friend. We are dross. It was pretty dross. There was no caffeine, man. There was fire in the bellies. But they drank Gaviscon before the game. So it kind of nullified that, I'm assuming, yeah? I wanted to roll up in the duvet. That's okay, brother, as long as you wasn't rolling up anything else, all right? But before I start with a kind of a little bit of a breakdown, I do think we have to give credit where credit is due. We did draw. A credit where credit is due. Arsenal are in back-to-back semi-finals, and I don't care how else you butter it up, you have to give credit to that. That is the first time that Arsenal have ever reached back-to-back semi-finals. I don't care what their pathway was. I don't care who the teams we played against was. We are in 2 semi-finals, and I think that is a pretty incredible thing. Personally, I think we'll get past Atletico. I think we're going to make a final this year. I think it's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible, but I do think that we will make. I do think that we will make the Champions League final this year. I don't think we'll win it, but I do think that we will make the Champions League final this year. We had diarrhea. No, man, I'm telling you, the Gaviscon nullified it all. It was Gaviscon. It was Gaviscon. The back-to-back semi-final thing is dross. I don't agree. I know it's not a trophy, but I think it's something, right? It's something, and I think we'll make the final. I really do think we're going to make the final. I think we'll beat Atletico. I think we'll beat them. But yeah, let's just quickly talk about the game then. Despite not scoring, from what I could see anyway, I do think that there was intention to be more direct in this game. I think we were more direct, and I think that was better than I'd seen in previous games. So if you look at the Bournemouth game, particularly, where it was horrible, and if you look at the Sporting game before that, I do think that Arsenal were more direct and more purposeful with that. I think it was wonderful seeing Eze play a large portion of the game, and he got Arsenal's man of the match. I thought Noni had a good opportunity. Martinelli had a good opportunity, and then Trossard hits the post, which I think is quite ironic, really, because history in our sights, and it was him who nearly hit the post. But yeah, I think that I think we were more direct in that sense, and I also think that with Dalman looked pretty good when he came on too, and it was actually from his cross that Trossard hit the post. So I think that going into the Man City game, it'll be interesting what the starting lineup is going to be, because it looks like Noni's injured or could be injured. So that might be the time for Dalman to get his opportunity. And we've been calling for it. We've been calling for him to play big games, and it doesn't get bigger than Man City on Sunday, does it? It's not tangible. It's not tangible. No, it's not tangible. But do you know? All right. Okay. Yeah. It's not tangible. It's not a thing, right? But where would your energy be if we went out yesterday? Like, where would that be then? Would you be just as happy as you are now, or just as sad as you are now? Like, Real Madrid played incredible football yesterday, but they're not in a semi-final. Would you think they would rather shithouse their way to a semi-final? Because I can tell you right now, they want to be in a semi-final when they're not. So I think we have to be happy about something, and we're in a semi-final, and we've got an opportunity to go through to a final. So I absolutely am with you. The performance was dross, but we're in a semi-final, and there are teams who played much better football than us yesterday, and they're not. And so I think we have to hold something, It's 10 years. It's 10 years. Nobody will care that we made a semi. In 10 years, yeah, you're right. But I'm talking about today. I'm talking about right today. Today we're in the semi-final. I don't think it's egotistical. I think it's copium, right? We are doing something right now, at least. We're doing something right now. Same place, because we ain't winning, bro. Real Madrid have 15 Champions Leagues, mate. They do, but they're not going to get 16 this year, are they? We've got the chance to get number 1 this year. I think that's all I can say on it. Like, I'm not. I don't want you to think that I'm sitting here from a position where I'm just here to wind you up. I'm not trying to wind you up. I'm not trying to wind anyone up, right? Genuinely, I'm not. However, the way I'm choosing to look at it today is the football wasn't great. We scammed our way to a Champions League semi-final. I think that the football we played is better than we played in the last 2 weeks. And irrespective of anything else, if Arsenal don't go through yesterday, what is already looking bad on Sunday would look even worse. All right, and I just think there needs to be some perspective of that. I am all for the objectivity of it, because I absolutely accept it's not good. I can see some of these coming in, so I just want to get to them. We're not beating. Sorry. So first of all, we're not beating Atleti. Sporting were poor. Atleti won't be. Maybe, but we might lock them up. I think at this point, any team is capable of beating any team, right? Who are you choosing for the final, right? Who are you choosing for the final? Because it could be that we're all expecting Bayern Munich to make the final, and it could be PSG, or vice versa. And in the same token, you might be expecting Atleti to go through, and they won't. It will be Arsenal. I just think that at this point, it could be anyone who makes the final. And I'm gonna sit with Arsenal until it's not Arsenal. We got a rookie clown and no world class players in the front line. A rookie clown. How long is he allowed to be a rookie, though? How long is he allowed to be a rookie? Because what is this? Simeone's been a manager for 20 years, hasn't he? And this could be his first Champions League final. Is he still a rookie clown? Like, I know he's got La Ligas and stuff, but he's had this kind of he's had opportunities to make Champions League finals before, and he hasn't done it. So, is this his time, or is Arteta going to expose him? Bro, I was at the last semi-final home league. It was crap. At the last one. Oh, what? So you was at PSG last year? Gutted. See, I actually think we played better in the against PSG last year than we did against Sporting. So I'll give you that. I get the positivity, but come back in 3 weeks. Bet you won't care we reached it because we would have embarrassed ourselves. Yeah, maybe. And then, do you know what though? I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy to hold it. No, that's not the right word. What am I looking for? I am more than happy to have to face the consequences. I'm more than happy to have to be the person that fronts that. Like, I don't think I'm being overtly positive either. I don't think I'm being overtly positive. I think I'm being realistic. I think that, and by realistic, I'm not suggesting that we're going to do a madness, but I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that we beat Atletico. In the same way that you don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility. As in the same way that you think Atletico are going to win. They're both just opinions at this point, aren't they? All right, you are not outmastering the master. Simeone, listen, mate, that haram ball's coming. Simeone has 2 Champions League finals. Yeah, he does, but he hasn't won either of them. You know, you don't get a trophy for that, right? You just said to me you don't get a trophy for being in 2 semi-finals, so same thing, right? It's the same thing. And Simeone has a fraction of the budget Arteta has. Bro, there's no defending this fraud. Well, look, I don't think he's a fraud. I said this to Darkside before. I don't think he's a fraud. I think he'll be a failure. But I don't think he's a fraud. And okay, I think it's hopium. Yeah. Do you know what? That's fine. I'm happy to be hopium. That's fine. That's fine. I'm happy to be hopium. No, you said he hasn't made a final decision. Final decision. A final decision. A final. Oh, is it because I made a mistake about him not being in the finals? Right. Okay, fine. Right. Well, he hasn't got any Champions League medals then, has he? Right. So I retract it. He hasn't got any Champions League medals, right? So, you know, you don't get an award for being second, right? Apart from the runners-up trophy, and nobody wants a runners-up trophy. So yeah, 1 trophy in 24 tries. Fraud. I would say failure. I don't think he's a fraud. I think he's a failure. Like, I think a failure is a much better word for that. Than I don't think he's been a fraud. I think he's a failure. He's a feelings merchant. Yeah, I mean, well, that's what I said with the fire in the belly stuff. Like, Gaviscon and no caffeine in his coffee. Let me just get through some of the things, and then because I know I've got the messages at the chop as well. All right. So Zubimendi got man of the match yesterday as well. This is by TNT or the game, because Arsenal's man of the match was Eze. In terms of what Zubimendi was doing, I think he's looked the best he's looked probably in 2 months. So I think that's positive because he's going to play at the weekend. So if he's had his best game, one of the main criticisms I had from previously was that he had no sort of like momentum behind him. He looked like he was lacking confidence. He looked insecure and anxious on the pitch, right? Yesterday was one of his better games for a while. He was awarded man of the match, rightly so, it appeared. And what was quite nice was after he got the man of the match, you could see the team really geeing that up. So I think in terms of the feeling within the squad, I think that's going to be a positive going into Sunday. Like, we have to find some positivity, otherwise we're just going to ruin our lives for the next couple of days. And I'm just not willing to do that. I'm not willing to do it. I know where there's shortcomings. I'm very aware of them. But I'm not going to live my life that way until Sunday, because I'm already potentially going to be miserable on Sunday, right? It looks like Noni is injured. You could see him hopping in the Zubimendi video. I don't really like to say these types of things, but that could be a positive for Arsenal come Sunday. And the reason why I'm saying that, I mean, I don't want to jump too much towards my predicted lineup just yet, but I do think that Dalman could be in line for a start on Sunday. I really do. I think he has the maverick quality. The only thing I'm worried about is, of the two, I would still prefer Eze to start, and I'm worried about would he play both of them from the start anyway. But I think Eze looked incredible. I think he looked arrogant, and I liked that. Like, we want someone who has that, because We are very system based, and to have someone as sort of free spirited as Eze on the pitch is exactly what we need and exactly what we're going to want against Man City. So, I really want to see Eze starting that game in the 10. The topical thing actually I wanted to talk about, well, not topical, but Rice has been nominated as captain for the past 2 games, and that's not really something that we've seen in Arsenal. It's always been the standard, Odegaard isn't here, so it's going to go to one of the senior players who are in the leadership squad or whatever. So it's always been like Gabs or Saka, right? But Rice has been nominated as captain over the past 2 game weeks. And what does that say anything to you guys long term? Like, does that suggest anything to you long term? Because I am of the opinion that it could be Odegaard's last year. I think off the 2, I think Arteta will opt to keep Havertz, because I think that he will keep Havertz as the interchanging 9 with him and Gyökeres. But in the 10, you've got Eze. I think when Nuneri comes back, he is the obvious competition for 10, and Eze's ahead of him. Arsenal bought Eze, and that was in the way of Nuneri. I don't see Nuneri as a right winger. So I do think this could be Odegaard's final season. So with that being said, are you thinking that, is it natural for Rice to become the next captain? Are you happy about Rice becoming the next captain? I think for me, it's like the most natural thing is putting butter on your toast. So I think that would be a pretty good move for Arsenal, actually. I think Odegaard's time is up, actually. I do think he has capabilities as a deep line playmaker and not a 10, but I do think that it could be Rice that takes over the mantle next year as the captain at Arsenal. So just very quickly, Bayern Munich and Madrid, obviously the more exciting fixture of the quarterfinals. Bayern 4, Madrid 3, and Madrid Bayern win 6-4 in aggregate. And I mean, Neuer tried his best to make it really uncomfortable, didn't he, in the first minute, gifting them that goal. The Camavinga sending off was a bit wild to me. Like, I wasn't really sure what he got sent off for. Was it the time wasting or was it the foul? Because it wasn't clear. It looked like he held onto the ball for too long, and then the referee's yellow card came out, so it didn't look like it was coming out for the foul itself. But then, it essentially cost Madrid the game because they conceded 2 in extra time, and that was them out. And at that moment, it was going to at least extra time. So, I think the Camavinga one is big, and it looks like he's played his last Champions League game for Real Madrid as well, because he's going to be available in the summer. And it'll be interesting to see where he goes off, because I've heard that Arsenal are sniffing, but he's a little bit injury prone, so I'm not sure. But it does mean you've got Bayern and PSG, and then you've got Atletico and Arsenal. I've already said I think Arsenal will go through, and I think that Bayern will beat PSG. I just think Bayern are going to be too good, and I think it's going to be Arsenal Bayern in the final. It's going to be that thing where it's going to be Bayern again, and I just don't see Arsenal. I don't see Arsenal beating either of those teams on that side, to be honest, Bayern or PSG. But I think it'll be a Bayern Champions League win this year. So that's what I think on that. But let's talk ahead then to Man City, the Stay Humble derby. I mean, I am so worried about this game. Do you guys, Gunnar, if you're here, Darkside, if you're here, what are you reckoning on the score? I am proper concerned about this game. I think if you can't get motivated for this game, though, then I don't know what you're doing. So at the moment, our top score before this game ahead of the weekend, right, is 88, and Man City's top score is 85. So that's, if we lose this game, we can only reach 85, the same as Man City, which is deeply concerning to me, right? And if we draw, our top score is 86, and I think theirs is going to be 83. So it's worrying, because we could potentially end up on the same points as them this season. And if we don't beat Man City this weekend, or if we don't at least draw, I can't see us winning all of our remaining games, because I just think we'll be completely deflated. But I just don't, if you can't get up for this game, and this is part of the reason why I think not losing yesterday was so important. I just don't know I don't know what else will motivate you. My score would be NA. I never predict an Arsenal loss, but I have a feeling we're getting sacrificed. What kind of sacrifice? A crucifixion, or the one that the Saxons used to do, where they used to pull your rib cages out and make you look like a death angel? If you don't know what it is, you should Google it. It's pretty horrific. But yeah, no, it could be a sacrifice. Have you seen Apocalyptica? Is that what it's called? That Mel Gibson film? That's a pretty rough way to go, I think. But yeah, no, I actually, do you know what? Listen, this is the game, right, where we could potentially be seeing a Will Todd moment, couldn't we? Right? Like, it has that type of potential, right, where it's going to be a droll game. Like Arsenal are going to desperately play out for this 0-0 or something like that. You can see it, right? And it's going to be horrible to watch. And then all of a sudden, we're going to have a Will Todd moment, probably scored by one of our most maligned midfielders, by a Trossard or a Martinelli. They're going to go down as icons or something like that, right? Like, we can live in hope. Look, mate, dark side, I'm not going to live like you. I told you this. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to live like you. And don't swear on my stream. I'm not living like it, mate. I'm not doing it. I told you. I've got Sunday to do that, right? What's the point? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, right? I already think it's going to be a horrible game. And I've been pretty objective all week, right? But I need something today. And that's where I'm going, right? I do believe that it's going to be horrible. It's going to be a horrible game. It's the type of thing where if it was 0-0, it wouldn't surprise me. But if we got spanked 4-0, that wouldn't surprise me either, if I'm being completely honest, right? They've got the capacity to do that. I do think with Hincapié coming back into the team, I think that helps a lot. I thought Mosquera defensively was good yesterday, but obviously going forward, it was a bit rough. But it's one of those, isn't it? Hang on. Big up, Match. Big up, mate. Hope you're well. Good to see you, Chris. I hope you're well. How are things on the Liverpool front? Update me. It's not cope, it's hope. All right. Did you wink? It's not cope, it's hope. It's hopium. All right. That's it. Gunnar Rican's giving it to me now, and I'm going to get it tattooed on my forehead. All right. Job done for Arsenal, but more questions than answers for Sunday. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's objectively fair. I do think with the injury of Noni, I think that will give Arsenal fans something that they were hoping for, and I think they'll see Max Dowman start. Hang on, you're not being objective. It's Bonnie Blue written all over it. I told you, Bonnie Blue. I'm pretty sure it's El Brook who is a Man City fan. All right, if you're going to come in here with the porn star references, I'm pretty sure it's El Brook who is the celebrity porn star Man City fan. Thank you for coming to my TED talk. All right, Rayo will see more balls than Bonnie. Oh, for God's sake, right, guys, come on. Rails, then Adidas. Jesus, man, Gouda. Rican. Rayo will see more balls than. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm just going to let you guys play that out. You're talking dirty to each other. You're not talking dirty to me. All right. But listen, these are the types of things, right, that I think, look, if you can't get up for this game with the Shirky stuff, with the Carabao Cup stuff, with the Carabao Cup humiliation, with the bottlers and the fallout from the bottlers, the guy's practically got his own TV show, right? If you can't get up for that, you can't get up for anything, and you don't deserve the Premier League title anyway, right? There is so much for this on. There is so much for me that so much riding on this for me, right? That I'm absolutely desperate for Arsenal to win, and that's why I'm going to die on the sword of positivity today. I get it. Right, because I am in the same camp as you. I'm not drawing lines in the sand. I refuse to draw lines in the sand. I completely hear Gunnar Rican and Darkside and anyone else who watches this stream, which has been quite wonderful over the last week, is that the streams are being watched after they've been streamed. So thank you to that. If you are one of those people, don't forget to like and subscribe while I'm doing it. But look, I need this. All Arsenal fans need it, and all Arsenal fans want it. And Sunday is going to be such a blow, right? And I can hear the argument already. Just accept it now so it doesn't hurt as much on Sunday. Absolutely not. I'm not going to peel the plaster off slowly and pluck those hairs and feel every single bit of pain. Just rip it off on Sunday and let me do a miserable stream on Monday. Misery loves company. We can all come in. You can tell me I was wrong and I'll go, yeah, well, you were right. and now I'm going to cuss everyone out. All right, we can do that. It's fine. No one actually knows what will happen on Sunday until match has been played. Listen, Chris, don't give Dark Side any opportunity to come in here again. All right, please. Right, I'll see more balls on the new. Just Gunarican, mate. Gunarican. Do you know what? Yeah, when you have me on your stream, I am going to present myself as the toppest of top gooners just to wind you up, mate. I'm going to come in. I'm going to have all of my little books up that I've got. All these little books up. I'm going to have Fever Pitch in the background. I'm going to have the Arsenal Stadium Mystery in the background. I'm going to have the 1996 Tony Adams reflection that I got ordered yesterday. My fucking dog bit it. Right. I'm going to have them all up. Right. I'm going to have T-shirts hanging up in the background that say Havertz on them. Not Shy Havertz either. All right. I'm going to have Waka Waka playing in the background too. And you can hold that. You're pain in the backside, bruv. Gunnar Rukin is too funny. Why? You're going to be on a timeout as well, Chris. But no, I think we can get a result. Do you know what? Thank you. I'm not going to. I'm worried about what the rest of this says. Our midfield is key. I don't understand playing your most played midfielders for 90 minutes before your biggest match. Norgard must have offended Mike. All right. This is something we can actually debate. I appreciate that. So our midfield is key, it is. And one of the things that I spoke about previously, actually, was that there was clearly a disconnect between the defence and the midfield because the midfield weren't doing their job. And one of my main gripes with that, which is why I suggested Odegaard in the 8 and Rice in the 6, right, is because Zubimendi was clearly having a time of it. I was watching the games and I could see that Rice was looking over his shoulder, almost like he was babysitting. And one of the things that I said was, it looks like they don't trust him. Right. And I think that's a fair thing to say. It looked like they didn't trust him. He wasn't playing well. He looked like he was being carried by the team. Right. Yesterday, he played better. He got man of the match in what is probably, and I know that some people might come in for the Carabao Cup final, and I think that's fair. We'll put them on the same level then in what has been probably the joint first most important game he's played for Arsenal. All right. For me, I would say it's the most important game he's played for Arsenal, but I can understand why you might put the Carabao Cup final and this particular game on the same level, right? That's just my feelings on this. I'm not trying to wind anyone up, right? But in his most important or most significant game for Arsenal to date, he played better and he got man of the match, right? So I think that will be good for morale going into Sunday. And I also think because of that, I think Arsenal were actually, one of the things I said at the top of the show was that Arsenal have been more direct yesterday. And you saw that with Eze getting the freedom. And we were running through them a lot more, particularly in the first half, right? So I do think that there is positivity there. But playing them all 90 minutes is wild, especially because Rice was not even in the picture the day before. So that is a wild thing. I get it. He wants to get through to the final, but to do that is absolutely crazy. Norgard must have offended Mike. I think that by the looks of it, well, it's obvious they don't trust him. And if they don't trust him, that's because of the recruitment and they need to look at that recruitment, right? And there's lots of things that you guys have rightly brought up about the recruitment, yeah? Like, it's not been good enough. The Noni stuff is wild when you could have got Ademola Lookman, for example. And I know that Darkside will be in the chat for that, right? Some of the recruitment is wild, and you have to look at it and go, Norgard was a wild recruitment. You know, that could you have invested that money better, that 10 million? And the answer is probably yes, because he hasn't played. And then you could have kept a Miles in there if that's where you wanted to play him. And the reality is, whether you like talking about it or not, Arsenal did try and keep Thomas Partey as well, and he would have been the rotation, wouldn't he? So I think it's a completely fair point, Gunnar Rican. It could be, but I don't think it will be. I mean, anything is possible, but I just don't see that happening. And I think Arsenal are too strong defensively to hold 5 against Man City. I do. And Chris is laughing because he's seen me get triggered. Thanks for that. Listen, these are the reasons. This is why I need this fixture, right? This is why I need it, because of shit like this, right? Getting laughed at, especially from you Liverpool fans. I need this because of Never the Bride. That's why I need this, right? This is why I refuse to be negative until the fact, right? Never the Bride. Yeah. Spurs celebrating their own loss against Man City. Yeah. Bentley breaking into Arteta's office. Arteta tears drink from the bloody Liverpool fan, bottle jobs, hate watches, Neville, Carragher, Goldstein, Rory Jennings, Jamie O'Hara, right? I need this because this is hurting too much. So I will do that stuff on Monday if the fact comes to be. But until then, I'm gonna get behind them on this one. I have got no problem criticizing the performances. I dug them out on Monday, and it's been lovely streaming every day of the week, by the way. It's been a really good experience, and it's been nice to chat to you guys, right? But I was so down on Monday and Tuesday, man. And Wednesday, I tried to do something a little bit more positive because the game's coming ahead, and we're like, okay, right, the game's gonna happen tonight. All that kind of stuff. Arsenal got the result over the line. Irrespective of the score, the result was the outcome that we wanted. And so with that, we need to try and use it as a benchmark or as a leap pad or whatever you want to call it for Sunday, because Sunday is going to be horrible. Even if we win, right? Even if we win, it's going to be horrible, because if we win, it's not going to be because we win a 7-goal thriller. It's because we win 1-0. Let's face it, we aren't scoring. I can't see us scoring 2 or 3 at the Etihad. So if we win that game, it's because we win 1-0. Right, and it's going to be like Sylvain Wiltord at the Theatre of Dreams, right? That's what it's going to feel like, but it's going to be absolutely horrible to watch. Tet Fordiola. Have you been sitting there thinking about that? Right, I'm just going to go through some of the messages at the top, because one of the guys got me some messages because they couldn't be in the chat, so I just want to go through them. But while I'm going through those questions, what would your team be, and what are your score predictions? Just going to go back to the top. All right. Our set pieces, set plays take a humongous hit. We tried some new variations by going short from free kicks in the UCL, but they weren't fruitful. Yeah, I am not a fan of that short play. I get it. Jova's trying to be creative, but that is not for me. Again, so these are lows from Chidera. It was about 2 minutes remaining, and Rice tried to float one in from the corner. Yeah, it was weird riskiness, wasn't it? But I think at that point, they'd done so well from about the 70 minutes onward and restricted them to no shots that it was just. I think it was exhaustion. It was just like, I don't know what you're doing, mate. You're not thinking clearly, are you? It got to our turn to play football in such a way that we're grinding out results, yet the world obsesses about pretty decent football, yet they haven't apologised to Wenger for the abuse received. Do you know what? This is a lovely point, actually. It'd be interesting to see what some of you guys think about this, right? We got absolutely bantered for years for playing good football and winning nothing, right? And we're in the same point. We haven't won anything, right? But the football is at least getting the results, right? We're getting, not in the last 2 weeks, we haven't been getting the results, right? But we are in positions where we could do something. And so it's quite funny that Wenger got all this abuse for years and years and years for not changing his style of play and doing so well with quite average footballers. And that's just something that's, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Unpopular opinion, wild take. If Mikel Arteta kept Aubameyang, we would have been champions in the 22-23. Wasn't the 22-23 though when we lost Saliba? I'm pretty sure we were okay until we lost Saliba in 22-23. Is that right? I feel like if we had someone to cover, I think our cover wasn't that the year we had Rob Holding covering? Come on. I think if we'd had better cover for Saliba in 22-23, we would have won it personally. But having Aubameyang, has there been a better striker in the last 10-15 years at Arsenal? Thierry isn't letting Arteta off the hook for his press the other day, and nor should he. He wants to see the fire. We didn't see the fire. We saw pragmatism when we saw Gaviscon. Even if it's for 45 to 60 minutes, can we get Odegaard and Saka for Sunday? I don't know about Odegaard, man. If he keeps dropping back to help out in the defence, then no. I wouldn't like to see Odegaard in the team on Saturday. I'd rather see it on Sunday. I'd rather see Eze. Saka, obviously, but I think he's got an Achilles injury, mate. So I think we're going to see Dowman, because it looks like Madueke's got a knock as well. So I think it will probably be Dowman. But it would be lovely to see Saka, obviously. Odegaard, not if he's going to do what he's been doing, because I would rather see Eze do that. We need to make the most of set pieces against City. Set plays has to be the 10. I mean, look, we have to take advantage of all of our play if we're going to beat City on Sunday. But set pieces have been poor over the last few weeks, you're right. Apologies to you, because he's alone all up front. Listen, I will not slate Gyökeres. I feel so sorry for Gyökeres. I think he deserves better. I don't think the team has adapted to his play because I don't think the tactics have adapted to his play. If Haaland was in our team, he would look like Gyökeres, and I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe if Haaland was in our team, he would look like Gyökeres, and I think that in Man City's team, I don't think obviously that Gyökeres would look like Haaland, but I think he would have a bag full of goals. You know what I mean? Like, and Haaland's not been on form this year, so can you imagine? Like, I just, it blows my mind. But I do think Havertz will probably have to start on Sunday because they're just not going to play to his style, and it's going to annoy me. Why is Mbappe branded like a dictator? Listen, man, I'm not going to pretend to be able to speak on Real Madrid. I don't know. Simeone is more frantic than Arteta on the touchline. Yep, but I don't mind that. I think that's cool. Mosquera and Hippocampi are solid defensively. If they start, most avoid getting an early yellow card. Hincapie, yeah. I mean, it was, yeah, the Hincapie yellow card in the Carabao Cup final really did affect the gameplay, didn't it? Like, you could see that he was nervous. And again, the ineptitude of Arteta in that moment was, you should have taken him off, and he didn't. And that was part of the failing. I do think Arsenal lose that Carabao Cup final anyway because Man City were better. But that was one of the huge failings for me of the Carabao Cup final, and that was ineptitude, and he should have done better. And Raya, yeah, he's taking too many risks. He just needs to play the ball quicker, kick it up, because if they kick it up, you've got players who can win the first ball. You've got players like, if Havertz starts, he can win the first ball, right? So what happens? You pick up the second ball, and then you're in an attacking third, right? If you're just playing it around, you're just inviting pressure is madness. For Saturday, we need defensive masterclass, mate. We just need a complete masterclass. We just need everything. We need absolutely everything. 2-1 City. I'm going to come back to the beginning now. I got through all the questions that were in the chat before the stream even started. 2-1 City, in my opinion. I think that we will steal a draw. I don't think we'll win. If we do win, I think it will be 1-0, and if we lose, I think we'll get spanked. But I think I'm predicting a draw. So that's just my opinion on that. Rob, where are you on Arteta? Look, I said this on my stream all week. To be fair, mate, if Arteta does not win the Premier League, that is a sackable offence. That's it. That is my opinion, right? That is my ultimate opinion on this. If he doesn't win the league, he should be. I don't see how you can move forward, right? However, if you... let me follow this up then, because these are linked. You keep saying the tactics suck and it's him that makes them, so why continue to accept it? So I'll quantify that now. If Arsenal win the league, right, you can only be objective, and you'll have a different opinion to this on me, and that's fine, right? But when I look, part of me thinks that he's like, I think he knows that he needs to win the league, right? I believe that. I know there's been talks of new contracts and stuff. I can't see. I really hope that is not the case, right? I do. I really hope that's not the case. I do try to be objective, right? I'm very passionate. Please don't mistake my passion for naivety, though, right? I genuinely think that he's like, I need to get it over the line. So he's trying to do it by hook and by crook. However, if he does win the league next year, I would not renew his contract. I would not. His contract expires in 2027, right? We know that he can play better football in this because we've seen better football, right? We've seen better football in 23 and 22, 23 and 23 and parts of 23, 24, right? So we know there is better football in there. If he wins the league, he can see out his contract. And if the football does not improve and we don't see that we are competitive next year, then you look elsewhere. All right, that's my opinion. That is it. I think that's reasonable, personally. You know, sorry, that's just following up this point here. So why accepting it? I will accept it up until July if we win the league, and then beyond that, you don't offer him a new contract unless the football improves. And if the football doesn't improve next season and we're not competitive, then that's that. You don't renew his contract, right? If he doesn't win the league this year, then that should be it. I think that's reasonable. I think that's reasonable, you know. And I appreciate that you might have different opinions on that, and I am here for them, right? But for me, that's the stance I would take, you know. but just to move on to the next part then. And do you know what? Sorry, before I do my predicted 11, I would be saying to them, like, you know, what? First of all, I'd be interested to see what your 11s are, but also what are you saying to your team in this team talk? Like, what are you saying to them to G them up, right? Because I don't want to hear fire in the belly stuff, right? Because I want to, like, you know, for me, like, I almost feel like I'd be that fucking cameraman if I was in there. I'd be like, this is my club. I fucking love this club, right? I fucking love this club, right? You guys might not be fans. I get it, right? Like, you know, I don't know. Havertz is probably a Leverkusen fan. It's where he grew up. That's okay. I don't mind, right? But I fucking love this club. And you are standing on the shoulders of giants. You know, you're standing on the shoulders of the Invincibles, Adams, Wright, Wenger, Graham, Seaman, Rocky, Thomas, Smith, Brady, George, Chapman. You're standing on their shoulders. And that legacy is why the fans are the way they are. You know, Arsenal have been going since 1886, right? And my dad will tell you the football has been shit for most of it. He was born in 50, all right? He's 76 this year. He's nearly 80. Arsenal are not renowned for beautiful football. We were spoilt under Wenger, as far as my dad is concerned, right? And we all of us nearing 40, right, are in the legacy of Wenger. And we've seen that beautiful football, all right? But the fans have lived through all of it, the good and the bad. It's your job to deliver. The time is now. And that's how I feel. Like, Man City or broke. Man City or broke. You know? And if he doesn't get the league over if he doesn't get the league over the line, I'm sorry, mate. You can't. I don't see how you can continue. And I don't dislike Arteta. I don't dislike him. But if he does not get the job done, can't be the manager next year. And if he does get the job done, like you're saying here, and I appreciate that, Gunnar Rican, like if he wins, yep, he gets a year. I agree. But it cannot be renewed unless you see some improvements. And I appreciate you saying that, Chris. Thank you. You're in Top Gunner category twice. I wouldn't put myself in Top Gunner. One of the jokes I made to Darkside is I don't consider myself an artesexual. I'm definitely not an Arteta-phobe, and I'm probably Teta, right? Teta. But I know the board will give him a raise and he will double down on Haramball. Look, if that happens, right, then I will be saying the same thing. I will be saying he shouldn't be getting a new contract unless the football improves and we are competitive for trophies. You know, but I feel like I've been pretty consistent in that opinion. The only time I had a different opinion was when I first started streaming and Darkside gave me a shot to get on his stream. That's the only time I said that I wouldn't sack Arteta. However, I feel like I've seen differences between basically when I started in February over the last 2 months, where I think this is what's the word I'm looking for? This is unsustainable. It's not the word I'm looking for, but it's the best one I can come up with. This is unsustainable. This is untenable. You can't carry on like this, right? And I hate the narrative. Right? That you don't support the club because you feel this way. That's nonsense, man. That's absolutely nonsense. I don't look at Gunnar Rican, for example. I think that guy ain't no fan. He's only been here since 2016. He's American. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? Right? Being a fan is subjective. I try to be objective, obviously, but being a fan ultimately is subjective. And if you don't like Arteta, that's fine, right? You can quantify it, and what you say is fair. But I do try and be as middle as possible when it comes to it. Liverpool won the title when their football is mid, so they want to sort out. I want our fans to demand excellence. Yeah, they do, and this is what I'm trying to say for next. And that's what I'm trying to say for next season, right? That's exactly what I'm trying to say for next season. If Arsenal get over the line, the football has to be better. Not just because the football has to be better, because I want to be entertained, and there is an element of that. But I also want to see a team that backs itself. You know, like I don't want to watch. I'm trying to think of an example. I don't know. Let's say that you quite enjoy. I can't think because I can't see the Premier League table right now. Let me have a quick look at the Premier League table before I say this. But it's one thing watching and entertaining football and then getting something completely different. So let's just say, for example, at the moment, Bournemouth beat us, right? Bournemouth beat us. They're 11th, right? They're 11th. They beat us at the weekend. They're on a 12 unbeaten run, but they are 11th. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like entertaining, but 11th in the Premier League either. So I do think there's a fine line. But you can't be champions or champions in the making or champions. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but you can't be champions elect and not be doing something. And so if they do get it over the line, like I said, I think there's a part of him that's like, I just need to get it over the line, so I'm going to lock up shop, right? But next season, if it doesn't improve, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Do you think a draw on Sunday gives advantage to Arsenal? Is it back to as what you were with City playing in the midweek at Burnley? No, I do think a drawing would be a massive advantage. I think psychologically that would be a massive advantage, in my opinion. That's the worry for Arsenal. If they finally win the league, are they going to have a slot effect where there's a hangover and down tools? I do think that he could. I do think there's a potential that he could lose the locker room. But, you know, lots of people will say the locker room is full of yes men. So I think there's probably a give and take there, because Arteta got rid of the people he thought that were going to cause him trouble. Guendouzi's not there. Aubameyang's not there. Lacazette's not yet there. And, you know, for a lot of it, they're not players I necessarily miss, but they are also the maverick ones. You know, we've got Eze. Eze's a wonderful maverick, but you could criticize and say that he's also a yes man. I think that there is that. So I don't know if they would down tools, but I think that it would get to the point where it'd be untenable for Arteta to continue if the football was like that next season. I do, and I'm not saying that because of the board. I'm saying that because the noise would be so loud. I just don't see how they can give him a new contract unless it improves. You know, fans for each club all want the same thing. I've been accused of being a slot defender because I blame the players more than him, even though I've slot out after Forest and PSV defeats in December. Look. I think the only way I can compare that is that Odegaard has been dropping into the 6, and Arteta's like, I don't know why he's doing that, because it's not something I've asked him to do, but he's still doing it. Well, then manage your team. Tell him he's not allowed to do that. Like, you're a 10, be the 10. And that's why I like seeing Eze in there, because he's like, that's not my job. That's not my job. My job is to get the goals. So I'm going to do that. You know, it's your job to defend and give me the ball. That's what I want from the 10. I want them to be arrogant. I want them to be above themselves a little bit. You know, I want them to think their shit don't stink. All right. And Eze doesn't have that. I think he's got more of an aura about him, right? But I want him to be like that. I don't want him to be a person that's dropping back. I don't want to see that. And then, challenges was the word. Thank you, Guna Rican. Right. So let me just line up what I think the team could look like on Sunday. I've had to chuck in a couple of players because I'm just not really sure what the availability is going to be like. So I've gone Timber or Mosquera at right back. I don't think we're going to see Timber. I thought Mosquera was okay defensively, but I think it'll probably be Mosquera. So Raya, Mosquera, Saliba, Gabriel, Hincapié. I think Hincapié we've missed him defensively. And at the moment, he's the first choice left back. I think Rice and Zubimendi. Zubimendi will keep his position in the team based on his performance yesterday, and hopefully this will mean that we are more forward thinking in play this time round. It looks like Saka looks like he's got an Achilles injury. I'd be surprised if we see him again this season, if I'm being completely honest. And then Madueke hobbled off, so I'm thinking it could be Rice. I want Eze to play every game between now and the end of the season. Like, I know that there's the overplay thing, but I literally just want to see Eze play. He is the person that makes me feel. I think Nelly will probably play, but I thought Jesus did pretty well as well on yesterday from the highlights. He held the ball up quite well. And I just don't want to see Trossard starting the game at the moment. And I think that this game is not for Gyökeres. I think clinically it's for Gyökeres, but I just don't think he'll start him, and I think he'll start Havertz in this game. So that's my 11. That's what I think it will be. I'm not completely in love with it, I can't lie, but I just think, looking at it objectively, that's what I can see happening. I don't think he'll start Jesus. That was a bit of an ace, but other than that, I think that's pretty much as the team will look. if he's not doing what you want, why is he captain? Why do you keep playing him? I think Arteta is scapegoating. What do you think that you're letting? You think that Odegaard is hanging himself? Because for me, I genuinely, I'm not sure if he's. I just don't think he's going to. I can't see how he can carry on next season. I just genuinely think that it's going to be. I think it's going to be off the two if he's going to sell either Odegaard or Havertz. And there are many other players that I think he'll sell before that. But I think if it's going to be either Odegaard or Havertz, I think it will be Odegaard, and I think he'll keep Havertz. And like I said before, I think he's got Eze and then Nwaneri in the 10. Personally, I think that's the way it'll look. AKA the sacrificed. We haven't lost yet, mate. Don't do this again. We've just come full circle. We shook hands. We hugged it out. We had a good chat about it. Come full circle, mate. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I think I've covered all of the things I wanted to cover. We've done really well again today. Thank you. 50 minutes is becoming a bit of a thing, so that's really lovely. I've just got, and if there's anything I've missed, jump me up, man. And I've got 2 more things I wanted to talk about before I go home. But I think Arteta wanted Odegaard to be in the middle of everything, and now that's not working. He's blaming Odegaard. Where have you? Okay. Well, where have you? Okay. So what's the evidence for blaming Odegaard? Because I don't necessarily see him digging Odegaard out. Oh, right. You're talking about. Oh, sorry. I understand now. I told him not to go there. Right. Okay. Or I didn't ask him to go there. Okay, that's fair. I don't know, so I can only speculate. Obviously, I think there's an element that perhaps Odegaard was trying to take responsibility because he didn't think the ball was moving. And I think part of this is because the Zubimendi thing wasn't working at the time. I think you can almost track how bad Arsenal have been since Zubimendi fell off. Right? And Zubimendi fell off about 2.5 months ago. And since then, Arsenal have been pretty rough to watch. Right. And so I think you can almost, and Odegaard has been missing so much this season that he hasn't got any momentum either. But I think that he was looking at that situation thinking, this isn't working. I need to go in and get the ball. The problem is that meant that he was dropping back. So we almost had like a low 3 midfield of Rice, Zubimendi and Odegaard, and then there was a massive hole. And then you had the likes of Gyökeres when they were playing Gyökeres, Madueke and Nelly together. They're going, they're an awful front three. It's because they were getting no service. They're getting no service. So I don't know if he's blaming Odegaard. He might well be. But I also think there's an element that Odegaard was trying to take some responsibility and it didn't work because that's not where we need him. And what should have been happening was work around Zubimendi, and that didn't happen either. And I think that part is, that part is where Arteta needs to look at that because that's on him, or the recruitment, because they obviously don't trust Norgard, and for whatever reason they don't fancy MLS in the 6. One of the conversations I've had is I would quite like to see Rice in the 6, and then seeing either 2/8 like an Eze or an Odegaard, or a Miles Lewis-Skelly in there as well. I don't know. I just think it's wild. I predict a 1-1. With City scoring an extra couple. Why are you doing this to me, brother? I told you, positivity. Wowza, Shane in the chat. That is huge. Thanks, man, for being here. I appreciate you. Any front three in the world will struggle under this manager. Shane, who are you having on Sunday? Who are you having on Sunday is your 11? And then what's your result as well? Actually, Shane, while you're doing that, while you're thinking about it, this came for me yesterday. I know you were very excited when you got yours. Mine is not signed, but I picked up. I ordered my Tony Adams 1996 reflection piece, and I read the original when it came out. It must have come out in 97, 98, somewhere around then. And I read it as a 12-year-old, And so Tony Adams was my idol. He's still my idol. He's still my favourite Arsenal player of all time. And I still think he's the best Arsenal player of all time. You can hang it in the Louvre because I don't care, right? He is my absolute favourite and best Arsenal player of all time. I think he's got 4 league titles. We've got 12 and he's won a third of them. So I was so excited when this came through yesterday. The only thing that was gutting about it was that the Amazon delivery person put it through the letterbox, and I've got dogs and they kind of gnawed the edge of it right here, so I'm fuming. But besides that, I've got loads of Arsenal books to read. I'm still working my way through Fever Pitch, but I am so excited to get into this one because he is my absolute hero. And one of the things I will say about Tony Adams while I'm here is he had an incredible career as a footballer. With Wenger's words, only playing at 70%, but my words, what a career and impact he's had off the pitch. Absolute hero. He is just one of the very best. He's my idol, man. Like, he's my idol. I can't say anything else. Arteta will start Trossard, Martinelli and Havertz on Sunday is my bet. You think he'll start both Trossard and Martinelli? So you think he'll play Martinelli on the right? I went with this. I think he will start... I do think he will start Havertz, but I think he could play Nelly on the. I don't think he'll start Trossard, just from the way that he was shouting at Trossard in the highlights when he came on. I don't think he'll start Trossard. I think he'll start Nelly on the right, and I think he might have to play Dalman because I think it looked like Madueke is injured, and I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see Saka again this season, or if the rumours are true, we won't be seeing Saka again this season. And just one little thing, light-hearted to finish it. I posted a short yesterday about when Hands of Arsenal tweeted that Declan Rice was going to be in the squad, and I said, "Is that a good thing? Is that what we want to see?" And he said, "I'm a Tottenham fan, and you're going to finish second, losers to Bournemouth." So I sent him the postcode to Lincoln. Fucker. But yeah, say la vie. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Got to an hour. Appreciate all of you being here. Gunnar Rican, I think you stayed the whole way. Chris as well. Thank you to Dira at the top. You're a legend. And Shane, man, huge honor to have you in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be over for 10:30. You've had your morning brew with me. You've had your morning coffee. And now you can head over to Shane. I don't know how to do the link thing. I have no idea how to do that. I'm still learning how to use StreamYard. But you've had your morning brew with me. It was decaf today because we had no caffeine in our Arsenal performance, did we? And you can head over to Shane for your full Irish, have some sausages and some hash browns. You know what to do. Hands of Arsenal claim Rice has been ill. Nah, he was in. I said that in the short I uploaded, mate. I said, is he ill, or is it just that he's exhausted, mate, and he can't play? Like, come on. You know, so I thought it was a very choice use of words. He's not ill, mate. He's knackered. He's on his deathbed, mate. He's walking around with a Zimmer frame. Like, he's knackered, isn't he? Yeah, and also saluting to Rican. Guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the stream there. It's great to have you all, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for a brew.